Today I'm going to show you how to start a bonsai collection if you're on a very tight budget. Hey, it's me, Iqbal Khan. If you have not yet subscribed to mikbonsai, then click the subscribe button and hit the bell icon to subscribe and receive notifications as I upload new videos. If you are new and a beginner in bonsai, then you have come to the right place. I'm going to show you between 5 and 7 plants. First up is this Cotoneaster. I grew this from a cutting. I didn't have time, and I do that when I'm busy. I take cuttings and I stick them in water, and this one rooted. Not every cutting that you stick in water will root, but some do, and that's the easiest way of doing it. After it had rooted, I planted it straight into this pot, and it's been here, I guess, for a couple of years, and it's grown. And prune it, that's what it needs desperately. And any branches which are going straight up like this one is going straight up, so they have to be reduced to about 2 sets of leaves. And I'm also going to prune this one. It's getting too long, and for that reason this has to be pruned. And also it's called directional pruning, and I will prune it with the leaf below the cut, and that is the direction in which the new foliage will grow. So I'm going to cut it to about here. Next I'm going to prune this branch. As there's already a branch on this side, I want the new branch to go in this direction. So I'll prune it to a leaf which is pointing in to the left, so that the new foliage will go in this direction and fill up the space here. So we'll cut it to about there. And same thing with this branch here. We want the growth to come outwards, more to the left, as there is space here. So we'll prune it to the last leaf, which is pointing to the left. So this one has been pruned. So this is a sort of branch that I would stick in water, and all that I have been doing in the past is remove all the leaves, nearly there, and I would just leave the leaves right at the end. So I'd leave these leaves on, and then this would be stuck in water, and that's how this was grown. Here we have a couple of parallel branches coming from virtually they're very close, and so this is a stronger branch. So I'm going to keep this, and this weaker one, which is slightly lower, I'm going to remove this. So we'll prune that to there, basically where it starts from. So we'll prune that to there, and also remove this foliage which is very close to the main trunk, and it basically detracts from the trunk. So all this foliage very close to the trunk will be removed, and there we have it. This one I'm going to let grow and thicken, and then I'll probably wire both of these like that a bit later in the season when the tree is going to dormancy. And for now it will be put back on the bench, and I'll just remove leaves which have fallen off during my pruning, and the leaves I removed from the trunk. And also it needs, the soil is going down, and I think this is from watering. I'll just top up the soil, and this is then ready to go back in its regular place on the benches. So there we are. I'll just give it a quick turn, and that is the first of the cuttings being made into a bonsai tree, and doesn't look half bad. It will take a little while, few years, before it looks like a bonsai, but it's on its way. And that's the front for now. Next up are these cuttings. The one in the terracotta pot is a cutting which was taken from a jade plant that I pruned, stuck it in water, and the full process of rooting these jade cuttings is in another video. I'll include a link in the description box below. And after it's rooted, it's potted up into these terracotta pots. And again, I'll leave a link below. And the next phase from here is to put them into bonsai pots. And that's what you see here. So that's the second way of doing it. Again, from cuttings, doesn't cost very much. And these terracotta pots are about 35 pence. And that's the start of it. This one particularly is the start of a small bonsai. There's the larch. Again, this was bought for a few pounds at a local supermarket. And it's still in its original pot. And I think it's coming along quite nicely. I've just pruned it and removed some branches. And that's all I've done. Basically clip and grow, and I will repot it next spring, and I will give it a quick 360, and that's the front. This is another Cotoneaster, again grown from cuttings, and it's gone absolutely crazy. I have not touched it for I think about maybe 3 years, 2 or 3 years, can't remember. And what I'm going to do is, it needs a quick tidy up. So I'm going to reduce these branches quite considerably, and we'll use these to sort of grow more. And the ones which are going straight up, like these ones, will be reduced. Same thing with that, to there, and that one possibly to there, that one to there. And these branches again, reduce them here and here. And I'm going to wire it to try and sort of change the shape. Dig this wire deep into the soil and then wrap it around the tree. So I'm going to hold this with a plier and then bend the wire around the tree. And from here on, use my finger to support the bending of the wire. Try and create a little bit more of a shape. It's going in one direction, so I want to try and create a little bit more of a movement as opposed to ending up with a windswept. The wire has to be wrapped around the tree or a branch at 45 degrees angle, and making sure that we move the foliage aside, like this branch and the little berry out of the way, and the wire would then go in the blank space. And this is how it's done. So hold the wire that's already been wound up and move the foliage and at 45 degrees angle. There we are. So that's gone in, and is then continued on to the next part, which is moving this branch out of the way. So if I just do that, move it down, and holding the wired part between my thumb and finger for forefinger, and go right round that way. So that part's done. And repeat the process. So we take it like that to there, and I'm going to also remove the leaves which are on the main trunk or too close to the trunk. Some of them are on the primary branches but too close, so they are being removed, and to create a more mature look that way. Up here is very busy, so I'm going to tidy this up as much as I can. So removing too many branches close together, so removing those. That's fine, that's too low and too close. That comes off, as is this one here. And looking at it From here there are these leaves too close to the main trunk, and there's this one. Although this is quite small, but it still matters that we try and follow the principles and apply the principles to irrespective of the size of the tree. And some of the rules are meant to be broken, but there are some which you cannot get away with. And foliage on the juvenile foliage on the trunk is one of them. I'm going to tidy up a little bit more. There are two branches here, so I'm going to remove this lower one, and basically it's the branches have to be spread out, and too close doesn't look right. And again, this one I'm going to remove. It's forming a T with that one, so this one will be removed. And this one I'm going to shorten to about there. And then I'll wire it so that it basically, and take it to the back like this. So the tree starts becoming three-dimensional. At the moment, it's just front and sides. So this I will wire to the back, and it'll go there. And up here, again, this is going straight up, so we'll reduce that to there, to encourage new growth to go sideways. And I think up here also I need to shorten it. I'm going to shorten it because they're virtually the same sort of size, so we start to have more of a apex. And this again will reduce it a bit more to about there. Just trying to decide what to do with this. I think this branch I will let it grow, and we will then wire it to the back to create a back branch. I think that's all for now. I'm just going to tidy up the pot a little bit. It's the leaves have fallen in as I've pruned. So that's another Cotoneaster made from cuttings, and it'll go back on the benches. I'm going to top up the soil on this one as well. The pot, it's also the fertilizer is sitting right at the top. So I'll cover up the fertilizer. I'm giving it a little bit of more of a bend in the trunk, and create a little bit more interest. Also, I'm going to twist the trunk to create more of the other side of the tree. There we are. That's a bit better. I'll give it a quick 360. There we are. At the next repot, I will naturally need to reposition it to get the front at the moment, because it was just growing, and the front is usually chosen when the tree is ready for putting it in its first bonsai pot. This is a recycled pot that I'd used. So that's the Cotoneaster, the second one. And the pruning that I've taken, I'll be tidying those up and sticking them in water, and hopefully they will take root as this one did and the previous one did. Next is a Chinese Quince, again grown from cuttings. This was taken from cuttings that came out as a result of pruning of my Chinese Quince, and they were stuck in water and they root quite easily. And again, it's very, very straight, this trunk. It's very thin, and so this is the time to give it a little bit more of a shape. So I wired the trunk, and I'm going to sort of try and give it a little bit more of a shape, and basically create more interest in the trunk and also reduce the height in the process. Right, there we are. I'm not going to do very much more. That should be enough just to secure the end, and just basically reduce the height of the tree. And that's the tree created from cuttings. Thanks for watching. That is to be continued in part 2. Be sure to watch it. That's all for now. This is Iqbal Khan for mikbonsai in West London. See you shortly. And now for the afterthought. Last week I went to see my doctor, and she said, "What can I do for you, Mr. Khan?" I explained that I was having a lot of trouble with young women, and that they were all throwing themselves at me and I was having to fight them off. And the doctor said, "What do you expect me to do?" And I said, "Break my arms? You dig?"